Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite our keynote speaker, writer and activist, Ms. Samar Mezghanni, to deliver her speech. Ms. Mezghanni is a Tunisian Iraqi writer, activist, and a PhD candidate at the University of Cambridge. Despite her young age, Ms. Mezghanni is a renowned author in the Arab world, where she received several awards and honors. Prior to joining the University of Cambridge, Ms. Mezghanni studied communication and culture at the University of Birmingham and psychology at the University of Tunis Al-Manar. Please welcome her.
Mr. President, Mr. Deputy Secretary General, Mr. Director General, Excellencies, my friend Ahmed, my friends, marhaba. When I was a child, I did not have anything important to say, do or give to my country, Tunisia, or I was made to think so. At the age of 7, I was already fed up with adults telling me what to do, with teachers sharply correcting some of my creative mistakes, and with my cousins, who would not let me play football with them because I was a little girl. So in my corner, watching boys playing football, teachers repeating imposed rules, and adults lying and believing the lie that a child's only mission and role in the world is to receive, I wrote my first story. It was a simple story, but it required the belief of some of these powerful adults in it for me to feel encouraged to write more. I was lucky to be in a family that supported me, in a house that kept me warm and well fed, and in a country that was not under occupation, not under war, and not under siege, as was my other country, Iraq. Yet, while few stories were celebrated, a dozen of published books, few literature prizes, and a couple of world records as the youngest writer in the world, all of which I had by the age I was 14, were sometimes not. They were at worst censored or rather at best censored, and at worst underestimated. I understood then that with recognition, skills, and audience comes power. And power in my society, in fact in all of our societies, is reserved for men with white hair, and for those who sustain the system of oppression and monopoly. Just like the case of a good story, it was inconceivable that a good project, a good idea, or a good vision can be built by a young person. But since an early age, I knew where new power was hiding. I saw it and I knew it when I saw many children joining me in writing and publishing for children, and in holding workshops all over the country to encourage other children to write and to be producers and not just consumers. I knew it when, with a group of young Arabs from several Arab countries, we defied established repressive regimes and developed training programs in universities and schools for other young people in critical thinking and in communication and in community development. And I finally saw it when young people in my country, Tunisia, took the streets 5 years ago to break the fatalism of decades-lasting dictatorship in my country and in the whole Arab region. Now, in this room, as I speak to you, I see power. In this room, as I speak to you, I see power. Not deriving from this place that is hosting us, but from the accumulation of actions that each one of us took to fight poverty, to support education, or to combat diseases. I ask myself, what makes us so important in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals? Is it the fact that we make a quarter of the world's population? Or is it the assumption that we are the leaders of tomorrow when in many sectors and at many moments we prove to be the leaders of today? Are we more committed? Are we more creative or more passionate? While engaging in development and reform initiatives, we are able to articulate our problems and the problems of those who are the most vulnerable in simple words. We have not practiced yet the intricate technical language that governments, corporations, and development agencies and institutions speak. We have not started to see the word in its full intimidating complications as others claim to do. We have not exhausted ourselves in pursuit of problems, of solutions rather than problems, but in pursuit of solutions that are exasperating problems surrounding us. We are still fresh with new ideas and imaginative brains. We conceive problems as they are. We see development for what it is. We see development for what it is. And we have the energy and rationality to challenge the realities surrounding us, not because we promised, but because we care. We care about the most vulnerable because we are not distant from them. In fact, in many places, we are them. We care about sustainable development because we don't theorize it. We act upon it. We live in a world determined, driven, and organized by fear. In some countries, it's fear from regimes. In others, it's fear from depression, from society or the lack of it, from the future, from prejudice, and worst of all, the widespread fear that is fed by all of these fears, the fear of others. As young people, we have not learned to fear yet. Our audacity to write different stories, to challenge inequalities, to accept others and to connect to them, makes us unique actors in achieving these universal goals. As young leaders, and as empowered young leaders, we can be the knot that connects governments, development institutions, and agencies to the general youth population who remain alienated. And it's our duty to support them, to support these young people with tools, skills, and an enabling environment. It's our responsibility to remind leaders, and that includes ourselves as leaders, that development is not reserved for a single continent. It's needed for every country. To be true to our commitment, we should not fear holding ourselves and other actors throughout the journey to 2030 accountable. And in every community project we build, every policy paper we draft, every advocacy action we make, and every awareness campaign we organize, the values of justice and equality, and the continuous critical questioning of the process itself ought to light our path. Now, as a storyteller, I'd like to end this with extracts of some of my stories in Arabic, where I write about humanity as a family trying desperately to save its own mother.
When our mother was dying, we came closer to her and we asked her, "What is wrong with you?" When our mother was dying, we came closer to her and asked her what was wrong with her, and she told her that she was not dying, but that something within us is dying. And my elder brother said loudly, he said, "I'm the one who knows most. I'm the one with the most culture. I am the richest. I am the wisest. I am the most capable. I shall tell you what happened to our mother." In fact, our mother is in pain because of the situation of our sister that couldn't improve her situation for a very long while. She is poor, very poor, she's ignorant, she's backward, and she is suffering because of epidemics and because of laziness. And despite all the efforts that have been made to save her, and everything that I have given to that sister, she is not capable of developing herself. What the elder brother said was true. What the elder brother said was true. Because despite the fact that he was very rich and he is very knowledgeable, he still is worrying about taking care of our sister who is meeting trouble after trouble. And after taking everything from her because she does not know how to use, then he started giving her assistance and aid, and yet she is still not succeeding. It is true that most of the money is taken over by the emissary of my brother, but she is still every day trying to go to his garden, to live in his precincts, and to share in his wealth. But we told her so many times that that was not possible. It is necessary for her to stay where she is, even though her suburb is burying the inhabitants every day. Even my brother tried to dissuade her, and he built a higher wall, and he left more guards and put more obstacles in front of my sister. But my sister does not understand. When I went to sleep, I dreamt a new story that I'm going to write after I wake up. In that story, I saw my sister, this heroine, who was worrying herself to help her brother to develop and to teach him modesty and sharing and to share with him everything that they both had. I looked at my sister's face smiling while she was restoring to my brother his humanity and bringing my mother back to life. I saw the face of my mother, and the whole world started changing. And I smiled too, because I knew it is not necessary for the whole world to change, for the story to change, and for my mother to continue living. All that my family needs is a story that would be different, that would change the world. Tomorrow, I shall write another story. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Ms. Samar Mezghanni for her keynote address and for sharing with us her very inspiring story.